Hey everybody, this is Puppet King, and I'm back for this week's story time. And for this week's story time, I am going to tell you about a time that I was dealing with a bloody nose, and I had to be on stage at one time. It all started back in, I think it was 2003, 2004, one of those times. I was actually scheduled to give the scripture reading at church. And so before when I got ready, all I had to do was, I decided to shave a little bit, make my face, less hairy, look good, clean and shaven, giving the scripture reading. And then all of a sudden I noticed that, my nose, it just starts bleeding. And it starts bleeding, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I just, I just was going to have to either, just hold it. I was going to have to hold it, with the tissue in my nose, or try to cover it up some way. Tried covering it up some ways. It did look at one point that it might have worked, but then at another point, I took it out, and then it started bleeding again. I thought maybe it stopped, and I took those out, but no, it started again. And then I couldn't get it any other way to stop it without it being noticeable some way. So what do? Well, I go up to the front row, and I talk, and because when you're doing something at church, you got to go up to the front row for when you're ready. I remember talking to the youth minister at this point, and he's like, sorry, my hair's a little sticking up. I'm trying to get it good for this video. And I told him, I said, is it okay? Because I've got a bloody nose. He's like, a bloody nose? He's like, do you want me to go up there and do it for you? I was like, no, I'm still scheduled to do this. And he's like, okay, well, I mean, you can go up there and everything, but I mean, if people see a bloody nose, it's going to be pretty gross. And I remember, I just told him, that I was not going to, give it up and everything. I said, I do my best to, cover it up. And then when it was time for me to do scripture reading, went up there, I remember like a little blood coming down the nose, but I mean, I just kind of just wipe it off like real quick. And because I only had maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 verses to read, or maybe just 1 or 2. But I know that after that, I know the youth minister who was going to be the speaker that night, I mean, he opens it up, he's kind of like, wow, he's like dealing with a bloody nose. Matt's dealing with sort of a little bit of a bloody nose. Still did a good job. He's like, but I have had worse things happen. He's like, I remember once when I was speaking and a long time ago, I stabbed myself with a microphone. And then anyway, the after part of it, now that was really, that was really good. I was told, I thought it was going to be noticeable at one point, but one person after church, they told me that, that I did a good job, despite having a bloody nose and everything. And he said that, and he also said that if the youth minister, if he didn't say anything about it, then people probably wouldn't have noticed it. Or a lot of people wouldn't. He's like, I noticed it though, because I saw you had tissues by your nose. So yeah, but told I did a good job despite that. And then after that, got another good another nice comment. Is that this person actually goes to actually went to school or was somewhat of a teacher and a coach, and he does a class up there, and one time, not sure if it was the day after or the other day, it's like, I don't know if it was like a Monday or Tuesday, but it was like, I think it was one of those days, and he goes up to me and he's like, "Yeah, you did a good job doing the scripture reading. Despite having a bloody nose, you still did a good job." And it's kind of like they're both trying to tell me, that, if he hadn't said anything, then nobody probably would have noticed. And I thought everyone was going to notice when they saw it. I said I didn't want to be grossing anybody out. I said, but it all leads to another thing. I said, because the next time I was scheduled to read scripture, I did it, just fine. And he's like, and of course, the youth minister's joking around with me. He's like, "No bloody noses this time." I was like, "You don't have to worry about a bloody nose. We don't have that problem this time." But yeah, that's pretty much the story of when I had a bloody nose, think there was some kind of shaving problem, and it ended up being bloody nose, and I knew it was right before church and I was doing scripture, so I pretty much knew I was screwed in that situation. But I'm not even sure what it was. I mean, after I think it was maybe a little bit after, the sermon that it stopped. But also, I was told that, might have hit a vessel or something in my nose, like maybe a blood vessel or something that caused it to bleed and just like bleed non-continuously. But, I mean, it may sound pretty gross, but, I mean, that is how it happened. But, yeah, anyway, that's the story of the time that I had a bloody nose, probably by some shaving accident, and had to be on stage, and even though it hadn't stopped bleeding. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button, hit that red subscribe button, and click on bell notifications so you'll never miss another video. And I will be back next week with another story time. Until then, I hope to see you in my lives on Friday, Saturday, and Monday. Yes, Friday and Saturday night is Family Feud game night, and Monday night is Chit Chat night. Hope to see you in here on Tuesdays. Hope to see you here on Tuesdays when I do my Storytime premieres. And I hope to see you also whenever I upload another video anytime. Hope you guys all have a good day. Have a good week. And I will see y'all later. Thanks to everybody who came. Good night, everyone.